everybody, it's Sophie and Marco, Dish on the Movies, and we are doing episode 6 of Fargo, season 4, and
the worst season.
The title of the episode is Camp Elegance, and I'm sorry, I don't know why it's called that. Maybe Marco picked up on that better than me. I watched it at 2:30 in the morning, and because I was wide awake, and basically for 3/4 of the episode it was tension building time, and sorry to say the lighting and the sound are the same, but what the commenter said,
and what you mean by that is that they're terrible, you know. Don't pretend that they're bad.
It is. I think that, oh my God, people are going to go to Kansas City thinking it looks like this all the time, and it doesn't. It can be bright and beautiful, and it can be cloudy and dreary. I mean, you know, just like anywhere else. It just freaks me out. So anyway, the first 2/3 of the movie were tension building. So I didn't like Chris Rock. Remember last week how we talked about, and it was really funny and good. And of course that's him, like in stand-up, funny and good and very smart, very crisp dialogue and jokes. But anyway, the scene where he was talking with his mother-in-law and his wife, and they were so good as supporting actresses because they brought out the best in him. So he did, I'd say, in that scene, and maybe for the rest of the episode, he did really well. I loved it. I thought it was really good. His acting was good. But guess what? In this episode, he went back to the way he was, and it was almost worse than what it's been. Like he was reading the lines, and of course he's not. I mean, memorized him, but I was really upset. But then, you know what? And I'm sorry, I don't know his name. I still have not picked up on some of these people's names.
Which one?
The head of the Italians.
Mustache Man? Or
with the
smoking
not Mario.
Man. Oh, not
I'm
Mario, not okay.
His counterpart, his brother. Is it really his brother?
Mustache
or is it,
Man.
Quote, brother. I don't know what that means. You know, like, oh, well, both Marco and I are from, we have tons of ancestors from different places, so I can't say, okay, Marco would be part Italian, so does his Italian brother? I mean, you know, I don't know what that means. If he really was his brother.
That was hilarious. You were like, is he his brother or his quote?
Well, I don't know what that means. You know, like nowadays people say my sister in arms. Not their natural sister. It's a affinity thing, you know. I don't know what it is. So maybe somebody can tell me. I'm just dumb. I don't know. But anyway, I thought his acting was terrible too.
Mustache Man?
Yes, I guess that's
he just does the same thing every episode. He's just been doing the same old thing. Just, I'm a crazy guy. This is who I always play in all my movies. I'm just gonna act crazy and over the top. I'm gonna sit around and order people around and be like, "Hey, I'm giving orders here. I'm Mustache Man." And,
well,
and then I like the smoking guy though. I think that he improved the way that I really hope that he gets more. You know, the guy with the smoke and burn on his face. I don't really care about names, especially after a commenter said we're stupid reviewers since we don't know the names.
I'm sorry.
Fuck you.
I can't. Don't say that.
I'm talking to the commenter, Sydney Webb. That was the name of the commenter, by the way. If you'd like to go check out her amazing YouTube channel with 0 videos and probably 0 subscribers as well.
Well, I'm not going to say any personal attacks
I
against
am.
somebody. Well, I'm not. And you can just...
You come on our channel, you're going to get fucked up if you say something that we don't like.
Well, not for me. Sorry, unless it's, I don't know.
Unless
Yeah,
it's
I don't know
really
if
bad, I guess.
I don't know. I don't know what really bad is.
Well,
Right now, it's really bad in other ways, and I just
the
don't want to
smoking
continue it.
the smoking man did a great job. I think that he really improved, and I'd like to see more of him. You know, the guy with the burn on his face. And you know, Mario, as usual, he was trash. He was horrible. He was stupid.
But he got what he
and it's just,
he got it a little bit back.
and I said this too. It just shows how bad this season is. The fact that we don't know the names. Well, I mean, I know the names now. Like, I mean, I know them since I've taken thought into, like, you know, I know all the names now that I'm really, like, trying to pay attention. But I really don't care. But, like, with all the other seasons, like, those names really fit the characters. They're great names, like the first season. You know, you just finished watching the first season. Like, you wouldn't forget any of those people's names. And like, those were great characters. But with this season, all the characters are just stereotypes. And they're all so one note and so basic. And so they're basically just vehicles for agendas. Because, like, there was only 2 agenda stupid lines this episode. And it had to do with Chris Rock and his horrible acting as usual. You know, he said some really stupid things. And one of the things, I'm not going to talk about the first thing he said, but the second thing, he basically equated this man, the nervous guy, Otis. I'm gonna say his name because I think he's a good character.
Yes, he is.
Otis, the nervous cop.
He's very unique.
Yeah, he's a greatly written character, and you know, he's obviously not a good character, but he's very well written and very developed, unlike all the other characters. And well, Chris Rock is basically equating him owning those porcelain statues to him owning slaves. And I'm sorry, but no one would say that in the 50s. That's something that you'd say nowadays, like, you know, 2020 type of people would say those type of things. You know, just, that's ridiculous. What'd you think of that, Sophie? Did you like that? Did you like him? I mean, well, that's so
there were
stupid.
two things, because I'm a reseller and I sell all these vintage items.
All those items you own, those are slaves.
Yeah, whatever. But anyway,
like, what is this, Toy Story?
I don't sell those. I don't sell that. I think they're Hummels, right?
Yeah,
they're Hummel figures.
I think maybe.
And I don't sell them. But still looking at them, I thought they were going to knock them all off and destroy them, and that's not. It's just not the figures. I think for Otis, it's a shrine. The whole thing with his almost wife's picture above them, and maybe they belong to her. I mean, I don't know, because we didn't get the whole story. We just heard it was she had been killed and all this. Not really very much, but still, to me, it looked like a shrine. It was set up like a shrine, so I thought, you know, he obviously has PTSD, and the things that to me, in my opinion, and the things that he does, his nervous habits, are things that kind of keep him steady. And actually, I don't know if somebody told him to do that or he thought of that of his own.
People already know that. People already know that. What did you think about the thing with?
He might have had a horrible reaction. I can't even imagine.
Well, what did you think about Chris Rock saying that he's owning slaves by owning porcelain figures?
I thought that was stupid. So everything I resell, they're my slaves.
Yeah, I guess
figures.
I guess the car.
Kinds of stuff.
I guess the car you drive is a slave too.
Well, I didn't like that line. I thought that was dumb. I'm sorry.
Clearly.
I didn't like it. I'm really, come on, people. I'm not talking about commenters. I'm talking about the people who wrote the lines. Come on. Really? I don't think he would ever even say that in real life.
No,
as
Chris
part
Rock
of his
wouldn't say that.
Comedy routines, he'd never say something like that. That's what I said.
It would have been funny if it was actually like a joke.
Yeah,
like
maybe.
Like maybe if like he he picked up the figures and he started
Oh God.
making them into characters. Like, oh look, this porcelain figure represents this character. It's like, that would have been really funny if it had been turned into like a comedic thing, because, you know, when you say stuff like that, you lose all my respect as a character, because it's like, you know, you're why does everything have to be an agenda? You know, like everything, like every single thing. You can't, and that's why I say this episode, the first, since we got to analyze everything, because apparently a review means you have to analyze everything with a magnifying glass. You know, you can't just say, oh, I like that, I didn't like that. Let's get really in depth with this superficial trash season. The first 3/4 of this episode, I would give a C, and because it's just average for this season, you know, it's just very average, just with the agendas. And, you know, it's spinning its wheels the first 3/4. Like, it's really not going anywhere. It's really just like doing the same old scenes. Like, oh,
Well, they were building tension. That's the way I looked at it. But I didn't like it either,
it didn't
because
build any tension
I'm
for
like,
me.
well, I felt like, God, everybody's lives are in danger here. I don't know who's going to be able to come out of this alive. I'm thinking maybe the marshal, and I hope the family who own the funeral home and their daughter. I hope. I mean, you know, the nurse showed up for not really very long, and they didn't show anything, but I think you can assume she did what she loves to do. And but you know, there's her too as a factor in.
She's not
other
a factor
things.
anymore for me, because she hasn't done anything.
Well,
And I said last episode, I want her to do something in this episode. Kill
well,
one
she did.
person.
She did, but they didn't show anything.
She didn't do anything.
Yeah, she did.
Not on screen.
No, and that's what I said. It wasn't. It
Trash.
wasn't shown.
Trash.
This her patient, and this is interesting because this didn't usually happen, but my other son is a nurse, so, and I was in a hospital like in 2013 a couple of times. I had 2 hospital stays, and you know, you don't really have one nurse all the time staying with you, because they go on different shifts. And unless you're in the ICU, which we hear a lot about nowadays because of COVID, yes, you do have certain nurses with you all the time. They're watching every single thing. And so in this episode, she has this one patient. She's with him constantly. There's no other nurse anywhere. Of course, now, for me, the time, I don't get the time. Maybe just a day or a couple of hours passed, but she was with them constantly.
You're just not analyzing it enough, Sophie. You got to get deeper than that.
Well, the whole time, the whole episode, they don't show her very much at all.
Yeah.
That's why Marco's not happy.
Because I said I want to see her kill someone, because she's supposed to be the wild card villain of the season. She has that huge closet full of trophies of people she's killed, and still she hasn't killed anybody since like episode 1 or 2 or 3.
Well,
and it's like, that's just ridiculous. You know, it's stop showing all these other scenes that just do the same old thing over and over again.
They didn't. It isn't the same thing. Oh, they didn't show anything. They did before.
I'm talking about with the regular story. I said the story is spinning its wheels.
Well, yeah, it seemed like it was.
Every scene. Oh, what's going on? Oh, what's going on? Oh, what's going on with the Italians? What's going on with the blacks? What's going on with the kid? What's going on with this? Go do this, it's like the same old thing over and over again. And so you can't really analyze that, except for the fact that there is nothing to analyze, because it's just repetitive bullshit. And, you know, the nurse, you know, I don't understand why they're not using her character. I guess because, you know, once her character does get used, she's going to kill everybody in sight, maybe. So, as I said when I was rating the episode, Sophie, I give the first 3/4 of this episode a C, and I give the last 15 minutes an A-. Because I thought the last 15 minutes was like classic Fargo. It was perfect. It didn't have any agendas, by the way. Any agendas. It was basically just an intense 15 minutes of fantastic television, and it was so well done in terms of the acting, in terms of the camera, like the shooting, like the cinematography, whatever. It wasn't fantastic, but it was really really good for this season. And the music, like everything was really well done about the last 15 minutes. So what would you rate this episode, Safi?
Well,
Do you agree?
I wanted to bring up a few more
Well,
things.
we're still going to discuss it, but let's just get the
Okay.
rating over with so
Okay,
we can
well,
get to things.
I guess well, I didn't really get a chance to think about, but I did think about it just about an hour ago. I guess I'd give it a black and white cookie, which is really weird.
What are you doing, Safi?
Well, not I'm
You
not
have to you
referring to
have to
I'm not
rate this
refer.
in terms of letters.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Well, I think you're right about that. I would give it a D for the first two
Oh.
thirds, and because I was about a hair's breadth from never watching it ever again.
She forgot that the black kid is gonna be grown up in season 2, which I've told her about 1,000 times. So apparently she forgot about that.
Well, now maybe you can kind of gather from that what happens. But I was so close to saying, I'm never going to watch this. I'm not going to watch the rest of the show. I don't want to have anything to do with it. And you'll see why. I'm a mother, so I'm thinking about all kinds of different things that maybe Marco wouldn't think about. But uh, talking about the African American child's mother, even his father, but still his father and the other boy's father, who I just talked about at the beginning, they're just acting stupid, and they're making stupid decisions. It's almost based on emotion, which is kind of weird when you're talking about men, which they're always talking about women and
Maybe
emotion.
that's another agenda, Safi.
I don't know, but
I'm not gonna say it is because
I
who
don't
knows?
I don't know. They're not good people. They kill people. They threaten people. They steal from people. They're
Yeah.
not good. I mean, neither one, okay? And so
The only
I
good
was really close to. And the last
yeah.
part, just I want to say is, I give it an A,
Yeah.
and because of the outcome and the rabbi who is the Irish guy, um, I really really like him,
And
and
notice
so
we know his name, by the way, because we
yeah,
actually think his character is a good character.
yeah,
And yeah, he's really, really good. As we've said before, we've seen him on Cloud Atlas. That's where we know him from, and we really like him, especially in this show. And he really became the star of the episode in the last 15 minutes, which is why I gave this last 15 minutes such a high grade. I thought that also. I don't. There's a lot of different things I could say, but to stick to what's important, I forgot to mention that this when she talked about a commenter, another stupid commenter saying that the show is lit poorly because it's trying to mimic noir films. So apparently the excuse is this, that it's supposed to be noir with the lighting and everything. Well, I can see where he's going with that because what I did was I turned all the color of the screen down to 0. And what it did was it improved the viewing experience drastically. It made the episode look really, really good. And I actually really liked the way that the episode looked, like in terms of the lighting. And so I really think that this season should have been in black and white.
yeah. I
Because
agree.
I could see things clearly. It seemed like the lighting totally made sense. I mean, so I really think that this should have been black and white. So I thought that was interesting. I wanted to do that as an experiment, regardless of. I just, I don't really care about rewatching any of the season again, probably. Uh, And so I just waited for this episode. And anything else? I mean, is there anything else we could say?
Yeah, well, I wanted to say,
Okay, go ahead.
remember when the doctor senator, before he got killed in the last episode, he said he came in and who was he meeting with? He was meeting with the guy with the burn on his face. And he says, well, he usually met with this was in that coffee shop, okay? And it was usually the consigliere.
It's called, what?
Whatever.
It's called the consigliere, I think. I hope.
I think it was Ori, but anyway,
No.
Whatever. And he wasn't there. And I thought, well, he must have gotten killed or something, because I don't think they showed him the whole episode. And unless it was at the very end, and I'm like, what happened to him? Did he get killed? Did I miss something?
He went to New York to get more people.
Sorry.
Remember?
I have a dry throat.
He was sent to New York to get more people.
Well, so he was gone. Well, he came back this episode, and he didn't know what happened, and he was like, New York told me to tell you, and he was talking to the mustached guy. You better set things right with your brother. And I guess he meant quote unquote brother. Oh God, need a drink. Anyway, so of course he'd already resigned to the fact he was not going to be around or something. So he had a big dilemma. But this guy showed up, and he was not happy. I don't know what if he did he threaten that they would bring retribution, or they said they'd be very unhappy or whatever. But I mean, when you at that point, I'm thinking nothing good is going to come for any of these people. And,
well, that's really, I guess that's the message.
Even
like in season 2, where they already had that message before. Even
the bad cop, who we said is a good character because he's very developed. I mean, he just he's very unique. There's no way, nobody else has acted like him, and I've ever seen, and it's going to be bad for he's like between a rock and a hard place. So it's there's some things in here that are good to remember, but like we said, the first 2/3 of it are it's building up tension, but it's kind of barely.
It's just spinning its wheels.
And then of course they showed the nurse, and I wanted to say that the reason why I know that, and I'm sorry if this spoils anything for you, because they don't show it at all. But the guy's moaning throughout the entire time. Every time they show her on screen, you hear this in the background. And even she met with the director of the hospital, and even when she was talking to him, you could hear the in the background. Then at the very end of her part of the show,
that doesn't mean that
stops.
She killed him. I
think it does. But anyway, you'll see.
She said that the moaning would stop when the swallowing went down.
She had a big smile on her face, so I don't think so.
I don't know. They didn't show it.
Yeah,
they
that's
didn't
right.
show it.
They didn't show it. So.
I wanted to see something because she's the villain. I want to see the villain do villainous things. Is that too much to ask?
I know, but I want to see all kinds of things too. But
what? What do you want to see out of this crappy season?
Better lines, better acting. Better lighting. Of course, we just talked about this noir thing.
So everything?
Sorry.
Well, no, I want to see...
I like the end of the show. They gave it an A, so...
I know. Well, people don't care about that. They just focus on the negative, so who cares?
I care.
Well, but none of them care because they're not intelligent enough to listen to what we're saying.
Marco.
It's true. They called us unintelligent.
Well,
they said
I know who I am. I'm not worried about somebody criticizing me.
Oh, no, I'm just
Sorry.
Putting things out in the open so that people can have a full picture of what's going on and why we're saying what we're saying. But, obviously we love the rabbi, and we can't wait to see what happens with him and Mike, little Mike, and...
You never get to see the little Italian boy. Very rarely.
Yeah, well...
Except last time when he got to eat that girl's birthday cake.
Oh, yeah. Little spoiled brat.
Well, they showed him...
He should have been the one to get killed. Would you be happy if the Italian kid got killed? I wouldn't care.
No.
I wouldn't
I
care.
would not like it
He's
at all.
asking for a piece of that girl's birthday cake. F that kid.
No, I don't like that.
F that kid.
I don't care. I don't like that. I don't like children getting killed. I'm sorry.
Oh, he's stealing a piece of that girl's cake.
I don't care.
And he's a spoiled little brat.
The mother did fix the cake. I don't know how she did it. You could see a little bit of
she fixed it.
It was such a beautiful, perfectly done cake. If you really paid attention. And she did manage to fix it, although it was kind of a little bit uneven in that one area. But she must, I don't know what she did. She filled it up with icing or
what I wanted to say was we also love the U.S. Marshal. He's my favorite character this season.
They showed him for 5 seconds. I'm
just
talking about the entire
just sitting
episode.
there watching, and then it's like, he's gone apparently. And that's the thing about this episode is that it showed things that I don't like, and then it kept all the characters that I do like away. Like this whole episode until the last 15 minutes is just constantly storylines with characters that I don't give a flying F about. Whereas, like, with the last 2 episodes, they had a lot of stuff with, like, the U.S. Marshal, kind of, the rabbi, and so, but, yeah, I want to see more of the U.S. Marshal. I mean, why am I having to ask to see more of the main characters on the show? Why is that, Sophie?
I thought it was very disappointing that Chris Rock and the guy who plays the mustached man, Italian, the head of that. I mean, the consigliatore or whatever he is, he told him he was to do something and he ignored him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why? Why would you do that? And I thought it was very interesting was these guys were all speaking Italian in front of him, and he said, speak American. I thought that was interesting.
That could be another agenda, though. I know. The thing is,
I thought that was interesting. I don't think that they would do that.
The thing is, though, is that it's kind of true. Is that I don't know why they're speaking Italian. Like, it's just weird how they're like randomly speaking Italian and then randomly speaking.
Language. It makes them different and more important than everybody else around them. I understand it.
Who are they? Why are they covering it up around the boss? Like, why are they talking? It's weird, but I don't care about that. But
no, I just thought that was interesting. The part of it that I was shocked because in terms of the mafia thing, you know, I grew up with. I knew the mafia was in Kansas City because they talked about it all the time. And my parents were accountants. They had Italian clients. So, I mean, you did hear about the Italians and the mafia a lot when I grew up there, and which was after 1950. Anyway, so I didn't hear about any other, quote, group, like I said several weeks ago. But anyway, I just thought that was interesting that New York, which I think is kind of like the center of it all, you know, was telling the guy to cut it out and to make things better, and he was ignoring what they said.
In fact, he just made things worse.
Oh, yeah.
And so I don't know. That's the other thing too. I don't really care anymore. Like, I don't like the stuff that I predict happening isn't exciting to me. I really don't care about these characters. It was so much more effective in season 2. When I cared about both families both gangs and cared about the leaders of both gangs and wanted to see what happened. And so, but it's with this season, I hate Chris Rock and I hate Mustache Man, and so that's the problem. And I was excited about this. I was excited about seeing Mustache Man. He's a great actor when he's not doing what he's doing here. And, I was excited to see Chris Rock
do something different.
And it's just a huge disappointment. And I'm not going to pretend that I like something that I don't like. And so, anyways, that's all I got to say. What should people do, Sophie?
I think they should like and subscribe, or maybe dislike, or you just leave a comment. At the minimum, Marco will get back to you maybe You don't want that if he's not going to be nice.
Well,
But
usually I just delete all the comments that I don't like, but
sorry about that. You know, it's mostly his channel, but
do you think
I've
do
been
you,
enjoying looking at things in a more critical way because usually this is partly the reason why I don't remember the names. When I used to watch movies and shows, I just kind of compartmentalize watching. In other words, I watch it and then I put it on a shelf and put it away and get back to it maybe some other time in my life, or if I wanted to watch it again next year or next month or whatever, I would do that. But that's what I've usually done. So I'm kind of more in the habit of doing that. And I mean, I didn't know the rabbi's name probably until this episode. So here we are, 6 episodes into it. I didn't know the little boys. I don't know either of the boys' names.
don't admit that, Sophie.
I don't care. I don't care. I'm sorry, but that's just I have about 1,000 things going on. I don't just do this channel. Like I said, I'm a reseller. That takes a lot of hard work. And I also have a million other things to do.
I'm not going to leave up comments of people calling us racist because we think Chris Rock is a terrible actor.
No, I don't think he's...
But that's what I'm talking about with comments that I delete.
I don't think... I'm not a racist. I lived in Africa. I lived with an African family. I did research with them.
Well, apparently you're racist if you don't like a show with an African-American actor who's doing terribly on the show.
He does great stand-up. In Saturday Night Live, which he did a few weeks ago, he was excellent.
He was
excellent.
He was great in Madagascar.
Marco reminded me about that, which we did see.
Where he played like 50% comedy, 50% serious. And it's just it's 2020,
he's
typical.
Very sharp and knowledgeable. And he's I mean, if you're watching his stand-up, you're wide awake.
Yeah.
You're not falling asleep. You're not saying, this is boring.
That's the unfortunate thing.
Anything.
That's the unfortunate thing, though, is the fact that, like, he could have brought that energy to this show. And
I don't know if he was allowed to because of the lines they gave him.
I don't know, but it's because so far he's only brought it to that one scene.
Well, that's because those women and that mother-in-law especially... And then I heard another one of the African Americans in the gang. He did that. I can't even imitate it.
The boxer.
The boxer. Yeah, that's right. Who's about ready to beat the living crap out of Gitano, whatever. And I can't imitate it. But it's still it made me laugh because even though that's kind of an ugly. There's a lot of ugliness in this episode.
Were you trying to say that's a stereotype or something?
Not a stereotype, but it's it's a regional, a regional thing. Like
everything in this season is a stereotype. I mean, there's nothing. Everything in this season is so one-dimensional and basic and rudimentary. And
well, I think it's funny. So at least that's one thing that's. And I don't know if this show, because in past seasons of Fargo, apparently, there's a lot more comical things, but there doesn't. And so
you watched the first season, and that in comparison, that season is very serious.
Yeah, and so you might expect a little comedy because of other times, but it's really hard to find here. Not in this episode, anyway. And that was and when the ladies were talking to him, and here he is, a big African-American Don, in a certain way. He's the head of this gang, and he's, supposed to be threatening, and these women are like one-upping him all the way, and the things it's just, and they don't have to even say much to one-up him and put him in his little place. So, anyway, they didn't have that this episode. So
well,
just that boxer.
That's it. Okay. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.